What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. We have a bunch of fun stuff to talk about today, including the Virtua Console being discovered on the Nintendo Switch. Not really. It was kinda not. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit here. And then we also found out that Forza Horizon 4, well, it's looking pretty good. And then Microsoft made a pretty big splash with Inside Xbox, but then they also announced a big-time conference that's coming up a bit sooner than you think. We're going to talk about why that's really important, why you should be keeping an eye out for it. First, though, we are going to start with Forza Horizon 4, along with some other quick news, because this game, the reviews came out for it, and it looks good. Now, the demo is out. I played the demo. I liked the demo. It was fun. I like generally the Forza Horizon series because it's more arcadey. I just find it just more fun in general than the track simulation Forza series. It's just the numbered Forza games, like Forza 6, Forza 7, for example, or even Gran Turismo. I like the more arcadey, more fun driving around in fields and stuff that Horizon brings, and seems like a lot of people like it because right now it has a 92 on Metacritic, with a lot of people saying that this is like the best Forza Horizon game that has released so far, and probably one of the best driving games that's released this generation, so I am heavily looking forward to that. Of course, that's out in the first week of October for Game Pass even, so if you have Game Pass, just hang out. You're going to be able to pick it up next week just by downloading it on Game Pass, which is awesome. I like the first-party games being there. But yeah, I'm definitely in for Forza Horizon 4, and I can't wait. Also, while we're on this classic plug-and-play bandwagon that just seems to be picking up steam, with Sony announcing their PlayStation Classic, Nintendo, of course, having their Super Nintendo, their Nintendo, and probably soon to be Nintendo 64 Classic, and Sega, who's been in the game of plug-and-plays for a long time, and is probably annoyed that everyone's now copying them. What do you think of a Philips CDI plug and play? No, not doing it. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it looks like some fans are actually interested in the idea, and Philips responded to them. So check this out. Here's a tweet from Chris Scullion, and he actually talks about how, hey, this would be cool if we had a CDI Classic. Actually lists a bunch of games, which some of the ones a lot of us figure would be like Hotel Mario, the Zelda games, of course. And then he also actually talks about quite a few other ones, and interestingly enough, Philips Care actually responded saying, "Hi CDI 3DO, thank you for your love, encouragement, and interest. We will try our best to fulfill your dreams and release something you suggest, but cannot promise anything yet. Please be a bit patient and stay tuned." Yeah, it's probably not happening, but it was interesting to see Philips actually respond to that. I think because that tweet from Chris picked up so much momentum, I think it was shared over 500 or 600 times or something, it was going all over the place. It was kind of hard to miss it in the video game circle on Twitter. Yeah, it's interesting to see Philips reach out and say, maybe, stay tuned, you never know. I don't know if they would get enough sales off of a Philips CDI plug-and-play, but it'd be cool to see. At this point, I'm just collecting these plug-and-plays. It's kind of neat to have. It's a cool way to get a nice snapshot of some of the best games on that system in a very small, easy to plug in and play box, but sure, why not? Let's do all this stuff. We hear about a new Intellivision system getting shown off soon, actually, in the next few weeks. Of course, we know Sega's doing theirs, and yeah, CDI, why not? And we've got word that Mark of the Ninja Remastered, which is the remaster of Mark of the Ninja that was out. I remember specifically playing it on PC. I think it was out on Xbox as well, but I definitely remember playing it on Steam. It's coming sooner than you might think, October 9th. So yeah, in the next few weeks, you'll be able to pick it up. It's $19.99, and it's coming to all platforms on that day. So you can get it on the Switch, the PS4, Xbox One, or PC. I believe there's DLC that was like $5. So if you didn't get that, you can upgrade your version if you have it on Steam or Xbox, or if you already have the DLC and everything completed, you just get to upgrade it. Otherwise, though, if it's new to you, say on the PS4 or the Switch, look forward to it. It's a pretty cool 2D ninja-style stealth game. It's kind of fun, and there's a good chance that they released a remaster, maybe to raise money for a sequel, so it's worth checking out. It's a really fun game, but definitely watch some videos beforehand so you kind of get an idea. It's not quite like a Ninja Gaiden where it's super fast, or even like The Messenger. It's a little more carefully planned style stealth game, but it's still really fun, and I think it's worth a look if you enjoy kind of those 2D style games. Alright guys, some of the quick stuff out of the way. Let's jump into some of the bigger stuff. We're going to start right away with this Virtua Console talk that seems to be making the rounds right now. If you missed it, on Twitter, a user, as you're seeing here, by the name of Kevdoy, actually put out a tweet pointing out that Nintendo had added a Virtual Console section to the Nintendo Switch eShop JSON that includes N64 and DS categories. Interestingly enough, after searching through it myself, and I think other people are even pointing it out, Android appears to be there, iOS appears to be there, Wii U, basically like all the platforms they've ever been on is part of this JSON file. And while people were getting very excited, kind of thinking that maybe the Virtual Console really isn't dead, maybe there are plans outside of the subscription service to do it, looking at this file, which anyone can access right now on your PC and your web browser, you can pull it up and search through the big wall of text if you would like. It seems like it's the same thing that's on all of the pages. So it's pretty much like their standard template they have up, and then they have numbers, of course, next to it, 0, 1, whatnot. It seems like they just have it up just for, like, at that point, just having everything conform to the same style and format and everything. And I guess they just fill in which, systems are available to it. So while it was pretty exciting to see this possibly hinted at, I don't think it means anything for at least the near future, okay? It's possible that they are doing this because they're thinking in their mind, or there might be plans in the background that maybe they want to sell N64 games. Maybe they want to sell Wii games or DS games even, which DS games, of course, were available on the Wii U, so it's not like it's unheard of to have it on the same screen and whatnot. It's possible that this is just for future stuff, but nothing now. They seem pretty dead set on, at least for now, NES, possibly SNES games in their subscription-based service. I don't think everything. There was even GBA listed there, Game Boy. I don't think they can put all this stuff in one subscription service for $20. Either that price has to go up, or it has to be a completely different service, or it does have to be single purchase items. You can pretty much try to figure out which way you would like it to go, but I think it makes more sense for Nintendo to turn this into a Netflix full-on subscription service that is like Game Pass, but with all their legacy stuff. There's so much stuff they could pull from, and they've pretty much, at this point, confined their subscription service to a very small amount of money, which means you're going to get what you pay for, technically, and there's not a lot of room to grow there. 20 NES games, possibly 30 to 40 is maybe 50 is what I see it getting the roof at. Outside of that, Nintendo starts to devalue their IPs and their games to where they know they can make more money. That should be a $10 a month service that you can just buy into. You don't necessarily need the online, and you have access to 100 games from the entire legacy where they're making $120 a year rather than $20. That's what I think. I don't think the single purchase Virtual Console is coming back in its old form. It technically already exists anyway. We just had Sega Ages. We have the Neo Geo stuff. It's all over the place anyway. Even bundles like the Capcom beat 'em ups is being released. So the Virtual Console kind of exists. It's just not Nintendo games, right? So I wouldn't expect anything soon, guys. It's interesting to see this added because maybe it just means they're getting stuff possibly set up for a future thought of that, but nothing soon. But let me know what you guys think about the Virtual Console, if you'd like to see it return, or if you're more on board with this new subscription type service that they have already introduced with NES games, possibly an upgraded one with everything. Let me know if that'd be worth it to you and if you'd buy into it. Next up, let's talk about the ongoing story that is Telltale Games. Of course, Telltale Games laid off a ton of employees. We heard it was around 250, but based on new information, it could have been up to 275. And after that, they kept on a small crew of about 25, and they're looking to finish up contracts, I guess with Netflix when it comes to the Minecraft story mode. Well, they're going to have some stuff to deal with, as some former employees, seemingly most of them, are participating in a class action lawsuit that has now been made public to get any their severances, all this stuff that seemed to have just been ripped away all at once, because it doesn't look like Telltale was telling them anything about this studio closing down or having to lay people off. It seemed like it was a large shock to them as much as it was to us. Like, think about you just going into work one day and they're like, everyone's laid off, go home. That would be a bit surprising, especially if when they say you don't get a severance. Well, here's the idea with the class action lawsuit, as you're seeing the page here that kind of defines what they were going over. The complaint, which was filed on Monday in federal court in San Francisco, class action lawsuit, it was submitted by Vernie Roberts on behalf of himself and his fellow laid off workers. And the idea here is they were let go without cause, and they did not provide them any advance written notice, and that is required by the WARN Act, which means that you have to at least let your employees know up to 60 days of cutting ties with them that, hey, we're going to be letting you go, and well, you're going to have to find new work. Because think about that. You go in, you're let go, and then you pretty much have to go find a new job immediately because your paychecks stop immediately. Probably through no fault of their own, as it seems like, based on a lot of talk going around the internet right now, that it was mismanagement that really caused Telltale to struggle and eventually fail and fall. So we also hear about them trying to finish the Walking Dead series in some way. It seems like they have some other stuff to worry about right now. And the other thing about this is, while they are looking for severance pay, back pay, overtime, all this stuff, does Telltale have the money to even pay that? Because what happened kind of struck me as odd in the first place, and it seemed like desperation, like something seriously wrong happened in the background that took all of their money away, and they're left with a skeleton crew to finish out contracts that they owe to. It's odd, but if they do something like, I guess, file for bankruptcy or whatnot, like we kind of hear them thinking about, I guess nothing would really come of this anyway. But we'll see. This is going to be an ongoing thing, and we'll see if they finally get their severance, just any kind of compensation, because the employees were definitely left out to dry. Next up, we're going to talk about Inside Xbox, and then we're going to talk about this big conference that was announced for November after that. So let's start with Inside Xbox, because I have to give them credit. This was a well-paced episode. Usually they seem to drag on, it's boring, there's not a lot of stuff happening. They were pretty quick, didn't take very long, and they hit us with a lot of pretty interesting information. So they did start with, of course, Forza Horizon 4. They talked heavily about it, which they should, because it's coming out soon. It's the one big release, first party release anyway, for the holiday, and then they're going to lean on third party. They did also talk about Game Pass in October, which actually looks pretty cool. It's going to include the Wolfenstein, the first one, Wolfenstein The Order, Metro 2033 Redux, which I do say some people should check out, because that was a really cool game. It's a nice little collection of the Metro 2033. Lego Indiana Jones, The Original Adventure, and then, of course, Forza Horizon 4, which will hit day one. When that comes out, they also told us about Games with Gold for October, which is going to include Overcooked, which of course is a great game, Victor Vron, and then the Xbox 360 will have some backwards compatibility games that include Stuntman Ignition and Hitman Blood Money, which I actually liked Hitman Blood Money. That was a cool game. They did some segments where they talked with Playground Games, of course pushing Forza Horizon 4 more, showing James Bond cars, which was kind of neat. They also have their own Fortnite bundle, similar to what Nintendo and Sony have. Their own Fortnite bundles that come with V-Bucks and custom skins, which I'm sure will actually move units better than you would think, despite it being a free game. We kind of talked about that a bit. And then really the big one that really I think caught a lot of people off guard to a degree, although we kind of heard about it, mouse and keyboard support. It's coming to the Xbox. The first game appears to be Warframe, and it will give all developers the option to use it, whether it's in a first-person shooter or third-person shooter, or just maybe point-and-click games, or maybe games that are like real-time strategy-style games. Yeah, you're going to be able to use mouse and keyboard, and it seems like Razer is partnering up, similar to what we heard, and they did put out a nice little teaser for November 10th to 11th, where they are going to show off what I assume to be a new keyboard and a new mouse, specifically with Xbox green branding and everything. And that date is very interesting, because that is the day that we're going to be talking about for their conference that they announced, which they just said is X018 2018, X 2018 basically. This is a conference that used to take place back in the day. I specifically remember it earlier in the 2000s to the mid-2000s, because this was a conference where things like Halo 2, the new Fable at the time, which I think was Fable 2, was announced. Or actually, no, it was Fable 1. Fable 1 was announced there, because that was on the original Xbox. Halo 2, Fable 1, the Rare acquisition, when that took place, all of these things were announced at their own conference. It's a big conference they used to do annually, and they're bringing it back for November. It's going to be live streamed. It's going to take place November 10th, so Saturday. It's going to air 3 to 5 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be a big live Inside Xbox. It's going to be massive, apparently. You'll watch it on Mixer, I'm sure Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. It's probably going to be all over the place. And it's going to be pretty neat, because 10,000 fans can actually join them on site. It's going to be really cool. And according to them, this is where some big first-party and third-party announcements are going to be. Of course, that Razer accessory, whether it's a keyboard or mouse, seems to line up well there as well. But after seeing this, in the past, I remember some big announcements. I just told you guys, Halo 2 debuted at this. Fable debuted. The Rare acquisition, tons of games. I think Crackdown 2 even was shown off here at one point back in the day. All these were first-time announcements. So I expect some announcements from first-party games, ones we don't know about yet, Possibly Halo Infinite might be showcased in some form. There could be a possibility of another acquisition from another studio, right? We could see a studio show up that was purchased by Microsoft like they showed at E3. There's also a chance, this is out there, okay? There's a chance that Scarlet could also be referenced here in some way. Whether they talk about it or they just full on show it and they say, see us at E3 for more information about this thing. So these are all things that could take place. This is their big celebration event that they used to do all the time, and they haven't in a little while, and this is a good way to really blow the doors off the place. Show up, talk about a studio you bought, announce some first party, announce some third party stuff, show off this Razer accessory, and then talk about Scarlet. That's how you have an awesome conference that, I mean, you're not going to have another one we would expect until E3 at that point. That would be a good spot to even showcase Scarlet. So let me know what you guys think about this down below. It's something else to look forward to in November, because I do think Microsoft is set to really bring it here. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for Newswave today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today. Whether it is the Nintendo Virtual Console, maybe you do want it to come back, or maybe you're more on the side that, I don't mind the subscription service. It's great to just have these games for 20 bucks a year, and I hope they keep adding to it. Let me know if you'd be okay with them raising the price, though. I'm very curious. What about the Telltale lawsuit? Do you think Telltale Games is at fault here and they should be paying out severances and everything? I think they should. I don't think it was a good way to go out with their employees, and it's a real shame to see this whole situation unfold, especially in the public eye. This is something that should have just been taken care of. What about Xbox with their Inside Xbox and their X018 or X2018? Let me know what you think about that as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.